All right, today we are going back to the basics. This is the fourth episode of Barely Shipping, where we are talking through the importance of centralized source of truth. Now, everybody knows this in theory. However, there's very few people that are doing this in practice. So today we're just going to touch on something that, again, you probably already know, but might need a reminder, and then some guidance on how you can set these up. So right now, most brands have all of this scattered information and all of these scattered tools. But what's interesting are all of the nuggets that are living in those little silos. For instance, sales calls, customer conversations, internal docs, these are all things that are absolutely unique to you that no competitor can replicate. And here's what I mean by that. Every day, your sales team is taking these prospect calls. And every day, those conversations are loaded with questions about features that are lacking or hopefully confirming that they're there. Questions about pricing and how often they come up. Questions about how you compare to competitors. Questions about your value on the market compared to those competitors. And these are all things that are happening in a conversation that your competitors are never going to have. They'll never have the same conversation as your sales reps. They might get the same questions, but everyone will provide a different and unique and nuanced answer depending on the exact product that they're selling. So just in your sales call, you have loads of transcripts that are inputs that can inform the product team on, hey, this is the feature request that keeps coming up over and over and over. Or the marketing team, hey, we need more content around these pain points, how our product specifically handles those pain points. We need to educate the market on X, Y, and Z. And it's the same with your customer conversations, either in Slacks or with your CS team, with your internal docs, assuming they weren't just written by AI. If somebody took the time to write down your mission, vision, values, the benefits and solutions of your product, and created those really strong documentation specific to your brand, these are all inputs that can inform the entire go-to-market motion that no competitor will be able to replicate with AI, even if they're using the same AI tools. The only way that this works is if it's all stored together. So again, the problem right now is you have calls living in one place. I was working with a customer and they had the sales team using one type of call recorder, and then their CS team was using a different type of call recorder. They had their sales team mostly chatting via email with customers or prospects, and then the CS team was talking via Slack and Intercom. You had these people going off and creating prompts because maybe they created a project in the team space in Claude, but they didn't load up the exact right connectors, or they're drawing from MCPs or knowledge bases that other people aren't drawing from, so they're getting a different voice and tone. And then you also have these closed lost and closed won deals that are happening, and those are happening in a CRM like Salesforce. So you have all of these different places across where they are no system can reliably read across them, especially at the volume that they're probably coming in, which is why it's very important to find a solution that allows you to take all of that and put it in a structured table where you can identify your ICP, how it relates to your product, the feature requests that came up, and then you can have that be queryable across everyone on your entire team. So context is the real constraint right now. Again, if your competitors all have the same AI tools, it means that in theory, they could have all the same AI outputs. But if you have a central knowledge base or a central source of truth, what I call a brand brain, if you have that context, then you can make really unique content. So you've heard that expression, garbage in, garbage out. The cool thing is it actually also works in reverse. Great in, great out, or unique in and unique out. AI is essentially a scaling machine. And as long as you are loading it with the right content and context, you can make really, really strong outputs on the back end. Now, how much you want a human in the loop to edit all of that is totally your company's call. I always recommend having a human in the loop, at least as the bread ends. Sometimes a club sandwich, so it'll be the start of a process on strategy, the middle to as a stopgap to make sure everything is going well, and then at the end to edit before anything gets published. I've said it before and I'll say it again, AI is not publishing itself, so if you see AI slop, it is not AI's fault. In fact, I hate the word AI slop because it implies that AI was publishing itself, and it's not. A lazy editor said good enough, hit click, send it off. But if you have a central knowledge base and every single person on any department of your team can draw from the same sources and create on-brand content, whether that's a sales follow-up email, whether that's a blog post, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, what have you, They can do anything as long as they are loading the right information in, and it is a brand's responsibility or a company's responsibility to provide them with that shared knowledge base. So again, we get every single call, every doc, every proof point, your ICPs, your voice rules, your product truths, all of the win and loss patterns into a queryable store. I personally have been using Supabase. I am a huge fan of that because I can make it in such a way that it will add embeddings and it will chunk everything down. So I can have it search across 500 sales calls and 1,000 Slack messages in a much more granular way than any chat tool can handle on its own once it's connected with either the MCP or a custom proprietary. So that's just my personal preference. I know some people have other solutions, but I've been a big fan of Supabase, and they're not even paying me to say that, which is crazy. Next, again, once you have that central source of truth, everything cascades and follows. So you can create the same on-brand content with your unique content nuanced perspective for the sales team with battle cards and follow-up cards. You can create blog posts and social pages. You can create AEO and SEO and discoverable answers. You can create ABM pages. You can create all of your success and documentation. Everything's drawing from the same inputs or that same queryable central source of truth. Now, it sounds very tedious, but it's actually a lot easier than you might think. You can scrape your sitemaps and have all of those loaded in as separate columns and rows. The same with your case studies, all your internal docs. What you also then need to do is contextualize that same store with all of your sales transcripts, your webinar transcripts, your YouTube video transcripts. And again, I know it sounds tedious, but having built it myself a few times, it takes maybe a day or two to really get something solid in place of really strong work. And then after that, you can connect a chat experience or use a separate tool. I was using Copy AI for years and still do, where you can then draw from that central knowledge base and create really strong outputs that are on brand and loaded with your unique perspectives that your competitors can never replicate. So you capture it once, then you can reuse it everywhere. All of your posts, drafts, all of your email drafts, all of your slide deck polls. Basically, you're never writing anything totally from scratch, and every starting point is something that is on brand and unique to you. And again, competitors can't replicate. So in the next episode, we are going to talk about how you can take this central source of truth, how it fits in specifically for content marketing. So we talked about every go-to-market department, sales, customer success. But today in the next episode, I really want to talk about how you can create strong top of the funnel content that's mostly there for SEO and AEO, strong middle of the funnel content that you can make for thought leadership and building more brand awareness, and then more bottom of the funnel content that really drives trust and generates more pipeline for your sales team, all drawing from that same central source of truth. Again, it might sound very basic, but it would surprise you how many clients I've been working with that simply don't have any idea on how to get started, or they think, well, what we need to do is add more tools so that we can simplify the data, which almost never works. If you're getting more than one tool to consolidate your many tools, you're just creating a bigger problem. So the expression I like to say is you have to build the pipe and the chocolate follows. If you don't understand what that metaphor means, just head over to the website. There's a book, Pipes Before Chocolate, an ebook that runs through all of this and the entire framework of how the system can work together. And if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. Again, I am building these 4 companies with just some really surprisingly great success in terms of making those unique outputs that are driving traffic, but also pipeline, and be excited to chat with you about that. So go ahead, wait for the next one. We're going to talk about top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Visit the website systemsledgrowth.ai and reach out on LinkedIn if you have any questions.